This is Partners in Crime with Adam Croft and Robert Dawes.
Another week, another waste of half an hour. Lovely.
Some things never change, and that's the Croft coffee. Fresh from the... It's a machine you have, isn't it? It's one of those wonderful, posh, super...
It's not, no.
Oh, is it not?
You don't pay attention, do you? We've been doing this podcast...
Me, no.
What,
no,
a year and a half, 71, 72 episodes in, and you've not noticed yet I'm feeding you instant coffee?
Oh, is that what you do? No, I haven't, because you do it very... Don't you put it into sort of a jug, like a percolating jug?
No.
You don't? No.
No, I've literally not done that in 72 weeks.
Right, that's extraordinary. Well, here I am drinking Adam's cheap coffee, all this time thinking it was just state-of-the-art barista stuff. And it's not, but I'm not going to change my point of view. It's a delicious cup of coffee, and thank you very much indeed.
Good. Have you had a good week?
I've had a very interesting week. It's summer holidays, so it's full on in our house. And when your son gets to age to go to school, then you'll realise what I'm talking about. It's full on. My part-time job as an Uber taxi conveyor of teenagers is sort of stretched to the maximum at the moment. But apart from that, it's very jolly. We've had some interesting weathers, ups and downs. And here's a question, because over the last couple of weeks you've been talking about your rear window experience with the building contractors across the road.
Yeah.
It's your front window.
My front window experience,
Alfred
yes.
Hitchcock's front window. Doesn't sound quite so good, but here
Alfred Hitchcroft.
and I noticed that they've got a sign outside the house advertising themselves as builders do, and they come from North Hants. Now I know that's not a million miles away, but it's still a good half an hour away, isn't it? I suppose it isn't very far for a builder to travel. But it begs the question: where are we, Adam?
Well, we're in Bedfordshire.
Yes, but people get this... I ask lots of people and say, well, we're East Midlands. Other people say, no, we're not, we're East Anglian. Other people say, no, you're very North London.
We're literally in the middle of nowhere.
Thank you.
I mean, the town that I live in has a Milton Keynes postcode, has a Leighton Buzzard dialing code, it has Bedford in the address, but the closest town's Luton. And the county that we're in... nobody knows whether it's East Midlands, if it's the South East, if it's the East Anglia. We pick up all sorts of different TV receptions. And we're the only doubly landlocked country in the UK. Doubly landlocked county in the UK.
So I know we're about as far from the sea as we can possibly get in this country, which is strange because I was brought up by the sea, so I would have thought I would have actually returned.
But he kept falling in, so he moved here.
Okay, can't swim. Well, there we are. You've sort of answered my question with details, but of course it doesn't actually answer the question of where the hell are we, because we actually don't know.
We don't know.
It's a bit of a mystery.
I've lived here all my life and I haven't got a clue where we are. Still don't know what region we're in.
Where the hell are
there
we?
Go.
Well, there we are. That's a mystery. If anyone is out there, we'll probably get a nice email message from Slovakia saying, well, of course you happen to... This is where you exactly are, because someone will know somewhere in the world, and maybe they're listening. Who knows?
Who knows? You mentioned the weather.
Yeah.
And we did. We now know that last Thursday was officially the hottest UK day on record. That has been announced. But it didn't to me, because weirdly enough, I said I felt a little bit peaky during last week's show. I wasn't quite on top form.
You didn't quite know whether to sit down or stand up. Did you?
As soon as you went, I went upstairs and went to bed.
Ah.
And there I stayed until the next morning, and was actually quite ill. And I was in bed for a couple of days, and on the Thursday, which was the hottest day, I was freezing cold under my covers. So I didn't feel it. I completely missed the world's hottest day.
What did you have? You have a stomach bug?
Must have been some 24-hour, almost 48-hour bug. My wife had it. And you know what? Most impressively, I gave it to my son. It normally goes the other way around. This is the first time I've given him something, and I feel mightily proud to have passed on a bug to that little child.
Well, exactly. Boost up his defences.
Exactly.
Well, I must admit, last week when we were broadcasting, you did have that look that makers of science fiction films in the 1950s like to sort of make their Martians or their swamp dwellers look that sort of particular hue of green.
Yeah, slightly grey green. Yeah.
No, well, I'm sorry you were ill. I didn't have absolutely no
I'm
idea.
not. I've lost loads of weight.
Shivering under the duvet. I didn't want to say anything. But when I walked into the day, I thought, he looks a little slimmer.
My appetite's still not back. I've not eaten in a week.
Good grief.
Brilliant. I highly recommend it to anybody.
Well done. My wife sometimes says that. She says, I'm looking forward to a nice stomach bump so I can lose a few pounds. Well, there we are. Well done.
But I did in
my... What a price.
Yeah, I know, yeah. In my downtime, I did have a look through the news.
I can see lots of big names in front of you on the screen.
Yeah, in more ways than one. The CWA Daggers shortlists for 2019 has been announced. The Diamond Dagger is a very short list. It's Robert Goddard. The CWA Gold Dagger, the shortlist is Claire Askew with All the Hidden Truths, M.W. Craven with The Puppet Show, Christabel Kent with What We Did, Donna Leon's Unto Us a Son is Given, Derek B. Miller's American by Day, and Benjamin Wood's A Station on the Path to Somewhere Better. And the CWA John Creasy New Blood Award, All the Hidden Truths, again, by Claire Askew, Alex Dahl, The Boy at the Door, Chris Hammer's Scrublands, Turn a Blind Eye by Vicky Newham, Laura Shepherd Robinson's Blood and Sugar, and Vanda Simon's Overkill, which...
Vanda Simon, yes.
She was a guest in the early days of Partners in Crime.
And this I think this last 12 months is the first time she's been over to the UK, and she's been on the literary festival circuit, and she's a terrific writer and much trumpeted by Craig Sisterton. Yes. So go back and find the Vanda Simon episode of Partners in Crime, back when we didn't know what we were doing, and we don't really know much better now. The CWA ALCS Gold Dagger for Non-Fiction has the wonderful and, in my eyes, should be winner, Sue Black, All That Remains, Nikita Brotman's An Unexplained Death, Murder by the Book by Claire Harmon, Kirk Wallace Johnson's The Feather Thief. He could have named that a little less tonguey, couldn't he? The Feather Thief.
The Spy and the Traitor by Ben McIntyre, and Hallie Rubenhold's The Five.
Well, I've read two of those. Sue Black's All That Remains, which we've recommended on the show, which is just superb, and Ben McIntyre, which I read everything he writes. The Spy and the Traitor is a brilliant read too. Yeah.
CWA, Ian Fleming Steel Dagger. The shortlist is Megan Abbott's Give Me Your Hand, Dan Fesperman's Safe Houses, Killing Eve, No Tomorrow by Luke Jennings, Stephen Mac Jones, Lies Laid Away, Holly Watt, To the Lions, and Tim Willock's Memo from Turner. CWA International Daggers, Dov Alphon, A Long Night in Paris, translated by Danielle Zamir, Karen Brynard's Weeping Waters, translated by Maya Fowler and Isabel Dixon.
That's a nice title, Weeping Waters.
It is. It almost sounds like it should be a country house or something like that.
It does, doesn't it?
Gianrico Carafilio, The Cold Summer, translated by Howard Curtis, Keigo Higashino's Newcomer, translated by Giles Murray, and Hakan Nesser's The Root of Evil, translated by Sarah, it says Death, I'm guessing it's probably Diath.
Yes.
But Sarah Death is a very crimey name. And Kay Redemacher's The Forger, translated by Peter Miller.
We should point out for the people who may not know worldwide what the CWA is. It's not Car Warehouse Association.
Is it not?
No.
Have I gone to the wrong website?
Yes, the new Ford Fiesta Dagger Award. No.
Well, you explain what the CWAs are. I'll sit back and watch, and then I'll do the rest.
It's a special association for professional writers in this country, which does an awful lot of extraordinary work, both professionally and socially. It promotes crime writers in the country with in all sorts of ways. Get to the CWA website and have a look at it, because it's a brilliant and very helpful association for all crime writers in the country, and does extraordinary work. As these nominations show, they are worldwide in their scope, and always looking for the latest and best talent, and supporting those who are on the way up, and indeed those who are already at the top of the particular crime writing tree. So yeah, sorry to interrupt.
That's all right. I'm not a member. I am merely reading the list.
Oh, right. Oh, well, it always has to be a little bit interesting, and a little bit ooh, and a little bit way, a little bit different. Yeah, you march to your own drum, and I respect that. Carry on.
My drum remains silent on this matter. CWA Sapir Books Historical Dagger, Liam McIlvenney's The Quaker, S.G. McLean Destroying Angel, Abir Mukherjee's Smoke and Ashes, Alex Reeves' The House on Half Moon Street, heard a lot about that, Tombland by C.J. Sansom, and Blood and Sugar by Laura Shepherd Robinson, which popped up in the John Creasy New Blood Awards as well. The short story dagger, Martin Edwards, Sid Moore, Danita Rea, Teresa Solana and Levi Tidder are there. I think I've pronounced that right, probably not. And the Dagger in the Library Awards, some very interesting names on here. At least, I think 2 or 3 have been guests on Partners in Crime. Shortlisted MC Beaton, Mark Billingham, John Connolly, Kate Ellis, CJ Sansom and Kath Staincliffe.
Yes, well, we've had Kath on and we've had Mark
Billingham's
obviously.
on there, yeah.
And I've just been doing MC Beaton's Agatha Raisin.
Yeah.
So, who's not been on the show. Yeah,
And the debut dagger, finally, a competition for the opening of a crime novel by an uncontracted writer.
Ah.
Wake by Shelley Burr,
Yes.
Hard Ways by Catherine Hendricks, The Morning Light, that's morning in the death sense, by Jerry Krause, The Firefly by David Smith, and A Thin Sharp Blade by Fran Smith.
The names to watch.
The names to watch, indeed. The winners will be announced at the Daggers Dinner in London on the 24th of October this year. Open to all, it says, which is interesting for the CWA. Anyway, you had a recommendation you wanted to
I
let us
have
know
got a
about.
recommendation. I'm moving on to television. Now we're off the CWA. Went to wonderful Christmas drinks with them just before Christmas, just down at St Pancras. I think I might have mentioned it. And a very jolly do. And one of the things you realise is that, like festivals where you meet and talk to lots of writers, this strange game of writing, any genre really, or any kind of writing, is a fairly lonely business at the best of times, and it's quite nice to have a little jolly every now and again, and meet up with like-minded people and people who are trying to do what you're trying to do, and you learn quite a lot from it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this Christmas's little jolly, wherever they may be holding it. Anyway, before then, there's the dinner and the awards ceremony, which will be great. So get your tickets if you fancy it, because it will be a great night. Yes. Excuse me. Right, television. We haven't reviewed a television for a long time, and that's because I haven't been able to watch much with our holiday duties and various other things. But I have come across an absolute humdinger, and when you find out what it is, many of you will say, "Bob, your finger isn't so much on the pulse. It's a wonder you have a pulse at all." Because, as usual, I'm coming late to the feast, and it is a Spanish-made television show, and it is called Money Heist. I had heard of it actually for a while. I sort of put it down as being a sort of panorama on sort of, I don't know, bankers, skullduggery in the city or whatever, but it's not. It's an absolutely brilliantly conceived, brilliantly produced and executed Spanish crime series, and it's on Netflix. I've been looking around for some responses to it, and Andy Hardup at Games Radar, I think, comes up with one of the best sort of views on it so far. This is on Series 1. It is now, I think, just coming to the end of Series 4. And I'm sort of coming to the end of Series 1, and I cannot, as they say with books, put it down. And I fear, my dear Adam, that this may be the next Spiral. But you can download it as opposed to having to go and get the DVDs.
I can't afford a new TV cabinet.
Well, you won't have to. You'll be able to actually stream it, as they used to say. Stream it into your home. Anyway, Spanish crime drama La Casa de Papel, known as Money Heist, is one of the finest slices of TV on Netflix, says Andy Hartup. He also goes on to say, we need to talk about Money Heist. The Spanish language show on Netflix known as La Casa de Papel, House of Paper, in its native tongue, is one of the best shows on Netflix that too many people aren't watching, despite being the streaming service's most watched non-English language show. I mean, it's called Money Heist, which is one of the least compelling English language names, and it's in Spanish, which means you either have to watch subtitles, the horror, or listen to an unconvincing American English dub. Even more horror. I did try that, and it is horrific, so don't do it. Subtitles only, please. Where everyone sounds a little bored and a lot like they're reading from a translated script. So the plot focuses on a bunch of highly experienced career criminals who follow a plan to rob the Royal Mint of Spain. But this isn't a simple cash and grab. There are hostages, political messages, psychological games, and a hell of a lot of interpersonal conflict. The Dali mask-wearing heist crew are all under the guidance of a man who calls himself the Professor, the mastermind behind the robbery. He's the character the whole series pivots on, although each of the criminals, and several members of the police, are outstanding enough to carry much of the screen time on their own. That's absolutely true. It's rare to see so many watchable players in a single TV show, yet here they are, losing nothing in the translation either. Now, I'm not going to go into the actual heist. I'm not going to do the spoiling. I'll mention it to you afterwards so I can at least spoil it for Adam. But I'm not going to do it to you, listeners. Money Heist also manages some wonderfully subversive tricks too. It presents several of the hostages as the true villains of the piece. It shows the vulnerability and fragility of the police officers dealing with the heist, and it constantly undermines our expectations of who the robbers are and what motivates them. Well, that's, the element of great crime writing, be it in novel fiction or be it screenwriting. I'll just end up with a name as generic as Money Heist and the added difficulty of subtitles. It's a miracle anyone outside of native Spain and the more niche foreign crime drama communities have watched this show at all. It's a tough sell for a vast global audience, and it's testament to the quality that Money Heist is currently Netflix's best watched non-English show. So there we are. I was introduced to this show by my sister. Thanks, Katie, for this. She'd been recommended for ages, and I finally got down to watching it this past weekend, and it's extraordinary. The main conceit of it is original, adventurous, totally believable, and the acting is superb. The only thing I will say is the subtitles are very quick. It doesn't ruin the viewing at all. You just have to sort of up your game as regards subtitles. There's no lingering, languishing, slow, sort of Danish or Swedish, the bridge type subtitles. It goes like a rocket. It rattles out, so you have to keep on top of that.
Reading glasses on.
Reading glasses on, but it is quite brilliant, so give it a try, and I assure you that you'll... Well, I won't assure you because you might hate it, so why should I presume to do such a thing? I hope that you will enjoy it as much as I do, because it's a brilliant show, and I'm only on Series 1. There are 3 now completed, so you've got the rest of the summer to enjoy all of those, and there's a 4th, I believe, in the making. And apparently the standard is maintained. Certainly up to the end of Series 3 from everyone I know and trust who's watched it before me. So there it is. It's Money Heist. It's on Netflix, and you can download it or stream it, and you don't have to buy a DVD and a new TV cabinet like Adam did for Spiral.
Good. If you like the sound of any books we mentioned today, by the way, this podcast is very gratefully sponsored by our wonderful friends over at Kobo, where you can get a selection of ebooks, audiobooks, and all sorts of... not other things actually, it's ebooks and audiobooks. But as a listener to Partners in Crime, you can get 90% off of your first purchase from Kobo. Just head over to kobo.com, choose the book you want to buy. One of mine would be nice, and enter the promo code CRIME at the checkout, and they'll give you 90% off. Bob's looking at me. Try one of his as well.
No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't thinking of that at all. Actually, I was just looking at you with respect. And
good. That's what I like. That's what I command.
It's this sort of expression, really. Well, you can't see it, can you, listener? It's sort of one raised eyebrow and slight quizzical look.
That's how most people look at me. Yeah. If you are an existing Kobo customer, if you've used your crime discount code, you've got your 90% off. You can get 40% off a select number of books moving forward by entering the promo code partners at the checkout, and a link to all of the eligible books, and there are hundreds of thousands, is available in the show notes. One such book.
Yes, well, that very good. I should have trusted his segue.
Done this
technique.
before.
They are effortless.
72 episodes, Bob.
And almost legendary now. Two lovers of the show. Have you seen Adam Segway? It's like it's masterful. If it was, is there a Segway in ballroom dancing?
I don't
Strictly
know.
come broadcasting. Well, you are the Segway king.
I mean, if you mean like
airways.
if you mean like the gyroscopic scooter type things, then that would probably be cheating.
No, that would be cheating. But Love Island's just finished, apparently.
What's that got to do with anything?
That's no segue at all. I'm ruining your perfect segue.
That's the complete opposite of a segue.
How impolite of me. I've ruined Adam's perfect segue into a book. Yes, it finished last night. I haven't seen... Well, in fairness, as I mentioned, I think last week, I do stand there for about, a good 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 minutes tutting very loudly at the displays on television and wondering that my 13-year-old and 16-year-old daughters are enjoying it so much as they do. But it's hugely popular, I believe, and...
Well, that's what you get from Partners in Crime. For every wonderful segue, Bob's there with a perfect non sequitur.
Exactly. Well, I like a non sequitur. Isn't that what you were suffering from last week?
Yes, I had the non sequiturs.
Have you? Yes. Shish kebab ever since I got off the boat.
Although, actually, probably wasn't a non sequitur because that's Latin for does not follow, and I certainly was.
Yes. Oh, you were following.
I was. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Carry on.
Sorry, the image that's just in my phone has actually brought me to a rather sombre silence. Anyway, so for your 40% discount, may I strongly recommend a writer who I am new to, Quentin Bates, who I've gone from Spain on the television to Iceland. Now, Quentin Bates is... Quentin escaped suburbia as a teenager and spent a decade in Iceland before returning to his English roots with an Icelandic family and eventually turning to writing for a living. Thin Ice is Sergeant Gunhilda's 7th appearance to date in 5 full-length novels and 2 novellas. And I'm new to Gunhilda, and I can strongly recommend it. It's fantastic. Quentin manages to get... There are several wonderful Icelandic crime writers out there, many of whom you will already know. But Quentin is new to me, and he writes superbly well. And Thin Ice is absolutely terrific, and I can't recommend it enough. Craig Robertson says it's chilling and utterly authentic, and I concur with that entirely. I'll read you the blurb, as Adam would say, from the back, because it sums it up very nicely.
And saves you thinking of anything as well.
Do you know what? I've got a slight hay fever in the throat this week. It's driving me absolutely nuts.
That's how mine started.
Yeah, and another silence. When 2 small-time crooks rob Reykjavik's premier drug dealer, their plans start to unravel after their getaway driver fails to show. Always a problem, that, isn't it? Your getaway driver fails to show.
Yeah.
Or, in my case, Amy isn't there to pick me up after I've done a Waitrose. Tensions mount. Yeah, they do in the Waitrose car park as well. Tensions mount between the pair and the 2 women they grabbed as hostages when they find themselves holed up in an isolated hotel that has been mothballed for the season. Back in the capital, Gunhilda, Erika and Helgi find themselves at a dead end investigating what appears to be the unrelated disappearance of a mother, her daughter, and their car, and the death of a thief. Gunnar and her team are faced with a set of riddles, but as more people are quizzed, it begins to emerge that all these unrelated incidents are in fact linked. And at the same time, 2 increasingly desperate lowlifes have no choice but to make some big decisions on how to get rid of their accidental hostages. As chilling as an Icelandic winter, says S.J. Bolton, and it is. I'm new to Quentin. This is not the first in his series. I'm going to go back to the beginning. In fact, I'm taking his first book, Frozen Out, on holiday with me because I will be in the sunshine, and I always think it's quite a nice contrast. I'm in the sunshine, but I'm reading about the frozen north.
Maybe psychologically it keeps you cool.
How interesting.
Maybe.
Is that what was going on?
Yeah, if you're freezing cold, if you're freezing cold, you can think of being on a nice hot beach. And
yes, that's true.
Maybe psychologically there's
think chilled. Yes, in all aspects of... I can think make myself colder and also be a bit more chilled out.
Yeah. Although Reykjavik Sounds
Thin Ice.
nice.
There it is. It's
Yeah.
Thin Ice, and it's available on Kobo by Quentin Bates. Get it as part of your summer reading, and get your 40% off if you go through Kobo.
Yeah, be nice to go there, wouldn't it, Reykjavik?
It would be nice to go there. Yes, we'll be talking about that a little later on, won't we? Not
Maybe.
in this episode.
No, get some contracts signed first, shall we? We Quentin Bates, Thin Ice, and as I mentioned not 10 minutes ago, if you head over to kobo.com, if you're a new customer, enter the promo code CRIME at the checkout. They'll give you 90% off of that book and many others. And if you go over to the link in the show notes, there are tens, if not hundreds of thousands of eligible books where you can get 40% off of all your purchases moving forward using the promo code PARTNERS. Kobo, of course, do have a wonderful range of very, very good e-readers, far better than some of the other ones that are out there, but you don't need it. You can get the free app on your mobile phone or tablet.
I'd like a free... They haven't sent us a free reader, have they?
They haven't sent you one, no.
The truth will out. The truth will out. Have you got one?
Yes, not for the podcast, but for other related purposes. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I don't get anything for this apart from money.
Yes. King of the Hill.
Which we'll take.
So, that's interesting. Okay, here's something. Now, I bump into people. I was at Beacon Lit the other day, and I bump into people who come to literary festivals, and there's always two or three, happily, who say, "Oh, it's something I've started to do. I'm starting to write and whatever, and I've got this and I've done that, and then it gets a bit daunting, and I don't quite know how to go forward. How do I get published? How do I write? What techniques do you need? What should I be doing?"
Something else.
And well, there's that sounds a bit harsh, really, to some degree, because I'm a firm believer that sometimes, if you're going to do it, you'll do it.
Oh yeah, not because of their ability, but just because it's not worth the hassle.
No, exactly. But for those of you who are, and other people say, "Look, I'm halfway through and I'm struggling with this," and what have you, so can you have a look at it? And I have to be honest with us, I just haven't got the time, between writing and family, and actually having not sold my ladders as an actor, I really just have to be honest, because I'm no good to anyone, really, in that respect. But,
I didn't want to say anything.
No, but there is for people. There are lots of how-to books and guidebooks and help aids out there for people who want to write and are writing, or at various stages in the creative creative process, I should say. So what I would like to say, and this hasn't been planned at all, is you run a set of courses, don't you, that are available online for people at different stages or struggling with different aspects of writing.
For writers, yeah.
Yeah, for writers. Yeah. And is it particular to crime writing? Or is it going to be any form of writing? Could you use your your rules and your suggestions and your guides to, if you're writing romance or
yeah, absolutely. It's not crime focused. It's not even on the craft of writing. It's more on the kind of the business and the publishing side of things. So they're for kind of independent authors, basically, who aren't with major publishers, such as I. So
what do you call your course?
It's under the Indie Author Mindset brand, but I'm not here to push that, nor would I want to do so.
Well, you just slipped me this Kobo reader. I thought it's got a little note on it. Please push the courses. No.
And ignore the humility. I'm just playing up to it.
No, but actually, it's a genuine question. How? How do I? Because this will answer my question, because I've said, you should get in touch with Adam Croft or whatever and take a look at what he has to offer. But what courses do you actually have? What are they called, and how do you get them?
There's all sorts, they're little mini things, basically. There's lots of courses out there for writers which are kind of hundreds or thousands of dollars, and they're, hundreds of hours long, and there's loads of stuff in them, and they're great, absolutely brilliant. I've done them myself. But there's a bit of a hole for people who just wanted to learn certain particular things. So I've done kind of like 1 or 2 hour short courses, or even half an hour in some cases, which are, they're much cheaper. They're kind of, $20, $30, $50.
Specifically on what holes did you manage to fill?
Writing blurbs and the hooks.
Yes.
Formatting books for publication. Simple things like getting a book up on Amazon.
So these are practical things about when you've got your book, and if you're maybe going to self-publish or whatever, these are a practical guide on how to do them. Do you give tips in any of your courses about writing and structuring and how to go about getting your book together? Or
I don't. It's not my specialist subject, really. It's kind of a happy accident that I can somehow write books. I'm still not entirely sure. I've read a lot about the structure of books and the science behind story, but I'm not going to lie, I don't totally understand it. I seem to have a knack for it, and I'm just going to cling on to that. I'm not going to pretend I can teach anybody else how to do it.
Several actors too, but there's several writers who actually refuse to talk about their particular craft and art for fear that it will suddenly elude them forever, or they just don't know. They just say, "Listen, I just, I just go out and do the next job and hope that it will work." So as a storyteller, you start with your ideas. I know you do.
That's totally it for me.
Research and whatever, and you just actually go. And analysing it is not particularly helpful to you, and you suspect to other people. There are lots of other people who do analyse the process of writing, of course, and lots of other books and guides and courses you can get to help you in the take your ideas and turn them into stories.
I mean, John Truby, The Anatomy of Story is very good. There are lots of very good ones. There's a writer called Sacha Black. She's very good at doing sort of heroes and villains, and she's very good at the story structure and act structure and how characters should develop over time and things like that. And it's all very, very complicated, very much beyond me. Very interesting, but I just try to get on with it.
Yeah. And you get your courses if you're a listener and a writer at that particular stage. What's it called? What do you call it?
An indie author mindset.
Indie author mindset after the book.
Yeah.
Indie author mindset. Adam.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
It is quite specific for kind of independently published writers. I think if you're just a crime fiction fan or reader, you're not going to get a whole lot from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, are you gonna go on holiday this year? I know you're up to.
I'm hoping
next
to.
Week,
I'm going to go up and see my parents next week. I'm hoping to go away in September somewhere. I've not been away anywhere in about a year and a half. It just happens that way.
You've got your tummy bug out of the way, which means
I'm beach
your
body
immune
ready.
system's going to be pretty punchy to take on all comers. And when you do get on that plane, you like going to Turkey, don't you? I seem to recall.
I've only been there twice. Yeah, I've not been there in 7 years actually.
Have you not?
No.
Good God, 7 years. Have we known each other that long? We have, easily, haven't we?
Yeah, longer than that, yeah.
So what book? Okay, here's a question. This is your Desert Island Disc question. What book are you yearning to take away? Because you said you've only read 2 this year. So which one book, I'm going to pin you down, are you going to be taking to Turkey or the Amalfi Coast or
it depends where I go.
Sea?
It depends. Rutland on Lake. It depends where I go. If it's a Greek island, which is probably where I'll end up, I'm not sure. But you did mention Turkey. And for me, the ultimate holiday book, which you recommended to me actually when we went to Turkey, but my wife and I, you recommended.
People will say we're in love.
You recommended that I take and read The Tales of Trebizond by Rose Macaulay.
Oh, yes.
Set in Turkey, which I did, and I read that in Turkey. Very atmospheric, lying there in the heat, and with a cold beer in my hand, listening to the call to prayer, looking out over the mountains, and hearing everything going on below me, and reading that book, and being there. I think that's it's a book that I really want to read again. But I'm not going to read it in any other country than Turkey, and I haven't been back there in 7 years. Okay. So if and when I do go back, I will be taking that book and reading it again.
Interesting enough, Adam's just flicked to booking.com on the Partners in Crime screen. So he's obviously sort of... that's quite a good deal.
Yeah,
Oh, look. Oh, yes, look. Tours of Istanbul. 277 per day. No, that's far too expensive.
That's EasyJet as well.
Want to go down to the south? Yeah. Okay. So that's you sorted out with your holiday for this summer, and your Tales of Trebizond, one of my favourite books. It's not a crime book, is it?
It's not at all. No.
We're a recommended crime book, but I think it's a strangely unappreciated classic. And on that note, and wishing you a very happy summer holiday, wherever you may go. it's goodbye from Partners in Crime, do you think?
That sounds like the end of a series.
It's not the end of a series.
It sounds like the way you've signed off there.
It's time to say goodbye. 34 minutes, 5 seconds.
We'll be back in a week.
34 minutes, 5 seconds. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Oh, forget everything I've just said then.
Partners in Crime was presented by Adam Croft and Robert Dawes and produced by Adam Croft. The theme tune was by the Caesareans. The Partners in Crime logo and imagery were designed by Stuart Faish. Partners in Crime is sponsored by Kobo, your favourite local bookshop, perfected.